We see the camera of the studio turn on down as the logo begins to appear. From the floor in the middle of it, a saw comes up, sawing a hole into the actual floor itself. From up above, the camera turns upwards to see Mike, without a head, standing on top of the scaffolding with a fishing rod. And he sinks the line down into the hole. He waits for a little bit before finally reeling back as he feels a tug and reels up his head as it lands on top of him, knocking him backwards straight into the chair that he'll be sitting for the rest of this. He does a little spin before he finally lands and looks at the camera and says, "Welcome everybody to the Latenight Speechbubble. I'm your host with the most at your behest, Mike Standee. Tonight, we have an interview prepared with somebody who was sure to raise the dead. If you get what I mean. With that, stagehand comes in from stage left and hands him a cup of coffee before Gibbs. This is going to be an interesting one because you weren't doing anything before this.
No, not really.
No.
It was just kind of chilling somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And suddenly, you're no longer chilling wherever you are. You're now somewhere else.
I'm assuming whatever shackles that it was in is gone.
Yeah. Whatever shackles Gibbs was in are no longer there. You're now in a very, very fancy suit. Or however you want to describe. Whatever... Actually, yeah. Please describe what you're wearing now.
Fuck. Probably, like... Okay, so you see the photo above in FPS roles? Probably something similar to that.
Okay.
Very 80s style.
A nice 80s... is that a dress? I would say that's a dress, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A nice 80s dress with some high-kneed boots. Heeled boots. Very,
stiletto
very nice.
boots.
And you are like wherever you were, you're now you are now sitting on a small chair while the like a pair of invisible folks. The only thing you can see from them is like these gloved hands are like doing your makeup and like making sure your hair is ready and all that stuff. Before, what's Gibbs' full name, if I may ask? I think you gave it to me.
I can type it in chat.
That would be perfect.
It's literally just the phase of a moon.
Nice. Tonight we are interviewing Gibbs Moon, and you are now being pushed towards the main stage studio. The main studio stage. There we go.
It is definitely fumbling on its way there, because it's confused and it's shaking. The fuck?
Whoa. Let's keep the cursing down on this one, please. We are on television.
It's just giving you a look. What the fuck?
How's it going, Gibbs? Mike Standee, your host with the most at your behest. Why don't you come on and sit?
I would rather go back to my partner.
Well, that is an issue, as you, seeing as how you are dead.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Alright, Standees, please turn on the bleeper. And now whenever you curse, there's a literal, like, live on stage, there's a bleep.
I apologize. Gibbs has a mouth on it.
No. Please continue cursing. This is just me, like, in the audio, in the universe. This is happening. Either way, tonight you're here for an interview in the Late Night Speechbubble.
It's gonna reluctantly take a seat, seeing as how, okay. Well, I mean, it doesn't really have a choice, and it's better than being with death. So.
Believe me, this is way better than death.
You haven't dealt with the asshole, so.
So, Gibbs, you've been alive quite a long while, haven't you?
Unfortunately.
You'd rather you didn't?
For as long as I've been alive, no.
Well, you're no longer alive now.
I didn't exactly want to die then, either.
Interesting. You've definitely been through a lot. What can I say about... More than... Oh my god. Words. More than I could definitely say about the other people I've interviewed here in the past couple of episodes. Why don't you tell us a bit about your life? What exactly... Why have you lived so long?
Death took an interest, gave me a deal, and like an idiot, I took it.
Quite, and you see on the screen behind him that lowers down from up top, there is a scene showing when this deal was made.
An important thing to note that at the time, it was very clear that A, Gibbs did not look like that, and it was real kind, for one. B, Gibbs was a fucking child. And I'm not talking about, like, 10 or 20 or something. I'm talking about, no, it was a literal infant. Barely could talk.
You know, from my understanding, the legal bindings made under the age of 18 technically don't count for anything. Why didn't you never get a lawyer?
The fuck is a lawyer?
Oh, you know, an attorney, somebody to represent you at the court of law, anything of the sort. Somebody who could have read over your contract and, you know, nullified the whole deal.
I was dead.
You know, that does put a damper on things, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
What's that like now, if I may ask? I've never experienced death myself, and there is no way I'll be experiencing it anytime soon, so...
Gets old the more times you do it.
So you've done it multiple times, then?
Yeah, it's kind of the whole deal thing.
You never quite die, do you? And you see like a small little montage of pictures sliding by, like a PowerPoint presentation of like different lives Gibbs has lived. If you'd like to describe some of those.
I'm not gonna go into detail, but there is just a fuck ton of them, and most of them have ended violently. Some of them, like, something to note about them, though, is that each time it's in a completely different world as a different person.
And he's just, sorry. An interesting set of jobs you definitely have had throughout your life. Um,
Hmm.
what made this one
Interesting
so?
is one way to put it.
I definitely call it interesting. Not everybody gets to live and die and live and die and live and die forever. But I guess it wasn't forever, was it? What made this one so different?
It's taking a moment because its memory now is spotty at best, but it also kind of sucks with words. And if I can find a photo.
Take your time.
Because there are quite a few things that made this different.
Hee hee. Hoo hoo.
There we go. Okay. Well, I don't have very many photos, but this is one photo that I have.
Ah. Is it photos of Gibbs with people that he cares about? Or that he cares about, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's flash some of those up on the screen, why don't we? You can describe who else is there.
Well, for one thing, there's Memoir, which is the first person that it met that actually changed its design from being almost entirely made of ice to more so what it looked like then, as like a fluffy white fox that was mostly warforged. And there's, of course, Lynn. There's Jacques and Asclepius and the rest of the Halloween Town Court. There's Hugh. Like, there's a few people. I can't remember off the top of my head every single person, but it is a small handful. Most notably, though, there is Corvitz,
Mm-hmm.
who it is romantically involved with.
I'll say that these pictures like pass by on the screen, just going like not listing any specific names, but just like photos and not even photos, but like stuff that was never photographed, like scenes and events that like hugs and stuff like that that were definitely like in private, currently just being shown off, and eventually does end on Krovitz. Yes, quite
The
a
way
life.
that it interacts with everyone else. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, yes, quite a life well lived, wasn't it?
How the fuck did you get any of this?
Oh, we have quite the research team here. Let me tell you. We know quite a lot about you, Gibbs.
I don't like that.
Oh, no need to worry. The only people who will ever see it are the people who are here tonight. And or anybody who's tuning in onto the TV show, so you know.
You know what? I'm dead. Who cares?
But now I do have a couple more questions about your life. Not just about the people you cared for, but well, there's definitely certain people that made it a lot more difficult to keep on living, wasn't it?
Hmm.
Let's see. Oh my goodness, sorry.
Do 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 do.
Now, for my pilot episode, I happen to manage to acquire an interview with a certain individual that I'm sure you'll be familiar with. And a picture of Thrall with Gibbs appears on the screen.
uh, fun fact about that. It doesn't remember its time with Thrall.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So, the look that it gives is one of not just confusion, but just like, okay. I d- it does not seem to care because it's met so many people. This is just some person that it was with at some point in its head. So it's just giving him a look of like, okay, what about it?
Oh, yes. How could I forget? Do you even remember who this is?
No.
Well, why don't I show you? And from my understanding, Gibbs was trapped was taken by Thrall, right? As a nickel?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Uh, and this is where Gibbs met Gregory, if I remember correctly, or was that before? No, met Gregory,
was,
and that got Thrall's interest, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It met Gregory, may or may not have destroyed an entire, like, station of the police. And then they blew some things up. It was a good time. But at the time, Gregory was Thrall's errand boy, pretty much. And the fact that it knew memoir as well as a few other things interested Thrall. So
Now, I will ask, why doesn't Gideon remember? Is it just
Gibbs is not exactly entirely there.
I see.
For one thing, because of how much it's dealt with. And so when I rolled to see how well it would handle what Thrall did to it, it rolled so poorly that I was just like, okay, you know what?
Repressed.
This is just... Nah, it's just something that it just straight up deleted from its memory.
Okay. I'm going to say this isn't... the audience doesn't get to see this part. As another different TV shows up, phasing away from the audience, just to show Gibbs what happened. So if you want to make that roll again...
Fun. Fun.
I'm sorry.
No, you were fine. That's gonna be something to unpack later for it. And I'm rolling this at disadvantage, because...
You're dead?
That's a 10.
That's a 10. That's a straight roll.
That is a straight up roll. Oh, man. So it's probably going to be floating around somewhere in its mind when it comes back, but whether or not it'll remember it day to day will be eh.
Yeah.
But it's there now.
Now that must have been quite the experience. I mean, you've definitely seen worse, but...
So you know how it's been pretty much irritatedly neutral this entire time?
Uh-huh.
It's not irritatedly neutral anymore. Its ears are just entirely flat, and the look on its face is haunted.
Perhaps a commercial break is on order. We'll get right back after these messages, folks. And the camera turns away for the first time in forever. As multiple stagehands move around and like start talking and get like grab on Mike. They try to pull you along, but I'm guessing you're not moving very much.
No, not really.
Yeah. They the stagehands themselves will bring over a cup of water, start fanning you. You know, a couple of light taps on the cheeks, just being like, "Come on, wake up." Reset your makeup after that, and all of that. Meanwhile, they're doing the same thing to Mike, and Mike is just like, "Now, I will say the quicker we finish the interview, the quicker you can go back to the whole being that thing, you know? So, I hope you don't mind.
Get off on tormenting people like this?
Oh, absolutely not. It's torture.
Then
But
why do you do it?
I have to answer to the sponsors.
And what asshole is sponsoring you torturing people?
Oh, I would not call this torture. This is just an interview.
Go fuck yourself.
I love that. The beeper is still on. Don't say it. There is no there's no Lauren Mike Standee. I should get like a commercial button that I can just press play. That's like, we'll be right back after these messages. I know there's fucking fake commercials that somebody fucking gathered together. I'll probably grab this at some point if this is gonna keep happening, but this is pretty good. And eventually, now we're about to get back on, so I'll try to pull on some lighter topics to lighten the mood a little bit between us. Gibbs? Story to Gibbs?
Hmm?
We're about to go back on air. You ready?
Sure.
With that, the logo comes back on, commercials pass, and we are back, folks. Now, Gibbs.
What?
I do have a question. Now, I do understand that you have a very special loved one that you care for, don't you?
Yes.
How long did it, this is for me asking just for the question. How long did it take for Kravitz and Gibbs to finally get together, or for them to admit that they had feelings for each other?
Not even very long. Not even.
It happened very quickly.
It was almost immediate, to be honest.
Now, you both went off like a spark. You want to tell us a little bit more about Kravitz? How you feel? I'm sure the audience would love to hear about it.
He's my partner. That's really about it.
Oh, come on. You can do better than that. No flowery language, no personal secrets that you two share between each other in the late hours of the night.
I'm not really much of a words person.
I could definitely tell.
It just raises one of its brows. Like, oh, really?
You might not be very much a words person, but you're definitely a jokester when it comes down to it.
Hmm.
Fine. You don't want to talk about your personal life. That's completely understandable. Let's talk about business then. You made a deal with death itself.
Unfortunately.
Now, you were a child, that's true, but I'm sure you know you still remember what the wording of that deal is, correct? Could you tell it to us?
I don't remember the exact wording, but basically what it all boils down to is that I was supposed to find my happy ending.
Happy ending. And in none of those previous thousands of lives you lived, you were able to find one? Not one.
Most of it was war.
War never changes, does it? Bethesda.
No.
This show is sponsored by Bethesda. No. Quite. But that's not completely true, is it? You've reached your happy ending. Despite the troubles and tribulations, despite how this life ended out, you've reached it. Literally, an ending. You know, there's not a lot of tunes that could actually say they've reached an ending.
I don't know if you remember this, and I know that my memory is spotty. At best. But I didn't exactly want it to end there.
We don't all get that choice, do we? I think, according to the original wordings of your contract, you were supposed to reach your happy ending. And, well, it seems by, and let's put that up on screen right down. The scene right before Gibbs' death. Can you describe to me what happened in that scene?
Gibbs and Corvitz were having a nice little picnic outside of Halloween Town, and Gibbs proposed to Corvitz. And it said for technically the second time, I love you.
Now, folks.
Technically, they were already. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, now, folks, if you do get a bit quimmish, I would suggest turning away now. Continue, please.
Now, granted, they were already technically engaged, but it still wanted to give him a ring and actually ask. And, well, it says I love you once, in a different way, but then it actually says the words, I love you. And I think what you're wanting me to go into is what happened after that, yeah?
Yeah.
What starts to happen after that is it starts breaking down from the inside. Until it ends up exploding. Because Gibbs is a warforged, and love is the four-letter word that it was not supposed to say.
My good friend, on that night, you reached your happy ending. Never heard about happily ever after? That is the ending. Your contract was technically fulfilled.
I didn't feel very happy after
Oh, that nobody
I
feels
started
happy after an
dying.
ending. Nobody feels happy after an ending.
I wasn't very happy when I was dying. I was still alive up until... It doesn't want to say it, but it's basically gesturing to when it actually exploded.
Yes, yes, quite a bit of a gorish scene, isn't it?
It fucking hurt!
I would have thought it would be quick.
It wasn't quick. It was slow and it was painful. Everything inside of me was falling apart.
Well, aren't you glad that you're not feeling that now, are you?
I don't see
Hey,
that as a happy ending.
silver blessings.
I don't see any of this as a blessing. I don't see that as a happy ending.
I've dealt with a lot of contracts in my life, and sadly, most of them don't end up the way you want. Why don't we see? Actually, no, we can't. Krovitz is played by Wiz, right?
Corvitz is played by Wiz. However, he's still unconscious, technically, because we haven't played that game yet.
Got it, got it.
The FPS that we did where it dies doesn't happen very long before the game where they go and rescue Gibbs.
Gibbs, I cannot tell you what the future. Sadly, while I'm able to research a lot of the past, I do not have premonition. But what I can say is that you seem to have a lot of people that care for you. That in of itself constituted your happy ending, and thus, well, poof, kaboom. But I do not think this is the end of your story. Dead as you may be. That hasn't stopped some of the folks tonight in tonight's audience, let me tell you.
Hmm.
You know what, Gibbs? It's an animus. So how about I give you something that perhaps you definitely can't remember now?
And what's that?
Gibbs was a child when when it made that deal, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Does Gibb remember its parents?
It only ever met one parent. Its second parent, its father, it never got to meet.
Did they love Gibbs?
Both of them did, yeah.
Then I will say, as an animus gift from me, a picture of both of your parents holding you when you were just a tiny little child. I'm not sure if you do recognize them, but that is you being held right there.
So its dad wasn't there when it was born and never got to actually meet it face to face. But I'm gonna ignore that for this because this is cute.
We have very good Photoshop artists. It doesn't have to be real for it to become a good memory.
Yeah.
Now, to leave on a good note, I believe that is all the time that we have tonight. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Gibbs?
It stands up and it looks at you, Mike. And it flips you off with both fingers. And it says, fuck you.
And that's all the time we have tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for the Late Night Speech Bubble. Thank you, Gibbs. Thank you, Gibbs, for joining us. Feel free to exit to the stage left. And thank you, live studio audience. You've been great. And as the theme song plays out and you fucking double Give the Bird to Mike. Both of them covered up by the censor bars. The credits begin to roll, most of which say Mike, by the way, followed by the backstage crew and the invisible hand, which is the people playing the song right now. And with that, FPS is over.
Hey!
Ha! Do a little bit of torture, do a little bit of, fucking about, do a little bit of recalling previous lives. It's all good shit. You do remember all of this, by the way. I will say that, and you get to keep whatever outfit it is that you're wearing right now. So even when you come, I don't know how that's gonna work, but I guess when you come back, you'll just be wearing a different set of clothes. I don't know. But
it's gonna be a lot, that's for sure.
Thank you so much for joining me, Babel. This has been great.
Thank you so much, Jade, for this, and I'm so sorry for my asshole fox.
No, it's great. I love it when people bring in characters that interact with Mike completely different, because it gives me a chance to figure out how do I keep this professional.
It could not be any more of a challenge than when I present my fox, because it is the least professional son of a bitch.
Right. All right, let's stop the recording. Say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you for the literal live studio audience, and thank you, Babel, for playing with me. You are wonderful.
No, you, Uno reverse motherfucker.
Bitch.
+4.
Uno amalgam. Fucking N reverse. There's a fucking
+4, +4, +4. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Skip your turn. Skip your turn. Drop from the 4th deck and tip over the fucking scale. There is a fucking person that's making.
Okay, well, Jade and I continue to have this fight. Bye, everybody.
Bye. I'm stopping the recording now. Bye.